Xbox has been pretty fantastic with news and Game Pass offerings as of late, but one area that I haven't covered in quite a while are the brand new games which have been announced and updated, which you need to be aware of. All of these games are coming to your Xbox consoles very soon, and do make sure to keep an eye out for that Xbox Game Pass icon so you know which ones are coming to the service. With that though, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation, and let's just dive right into it. First up, we did get a pretty huge announcement, and that's for the release date of the Mound, Omen of Cthulu. The studio are describing this one as a purely cooperative gameplay experience in which explorers must survive horror and madness on an expedition into the heart of a deep jungle. With that in mind, it will support up to 4 players. At the outset, you and your core bodies will choose a contract for you to pursue, and you'll be able to gather treasure as you explore, but do be aware, the longer you stay here, the more dangerous the island becomes. Of course, this one being a Lovecraftian game, you will also have to contend with deteriorating sanity, which could also make allies appear as enemies, show harmless ground as deadly traps, or just cause unexplained weather phenomena to fall from the sky, and that's to name just a few potential consequences. I really do hope it lands well, as this one's also coming from Nacon, who had their financial troubles recently, and it finally arrives onto Xbox this July. We've actually got a brand new Sword Art Online spin-off from Bandai Namco to look forward to for this year, and it's not even that long of a wait in the grand scheme of things. We now have echoes of Aincrad's release date to mark on your calendars, and if you love your Souls-like experiences with an anime twist, then you're going to be really excited about this one. Echoes of Aincrad will be available on the Xbox Series X and S consoles on the 10th of July this year. The game was revealed through an awesome new trailer, which I am showing you on screen now, and it showcases some of the environments, enemies, and that gorgeous anime art style. Now, after watching some of the gameplay videos and previews myself, it does become clear that if you aren't careful, enemies will steamroll through your health bar in a blink of an eye. However, that's kind of what you do to expect when it comes to these Souls-like experiences. I am really intrigued to see how this one does land though, but do let me know your thoughts on this new one in the comments below. Now, if you're looking for an arcade racing experience that's a little outside of the norm, then this one is for you. Developer Caged Element has announced that Warhammer 40,000 Speed Freaks is going to be launching onto Xbox in 2026, and honestly, I really can't wait to jump into this one, as I'm a massive fan of this universe, as many of you know. It looks like great fun. It brings high levels of customization and combat to the genre, like really only Warhammer can do these days, so we might actually see Speed Freaks storm onto my list of the best Xbox racing games when I do make that video a little bit later on this year. I know it does include some insane 8 versus 8 combat racing that does put your speed, cunning, and aggression to the test, as you will race in an all-out sprint to that finish line. I was a little disappointed at the time when it did come to PC and not Xbox, especially after seeing all of the incredible reviews. I'm just hoping it does launch for the same low price as we do see over on PC, as this one could be another banger for this year. In some other great news, the extremely promising Denshattack has finally got a release date. Publisher Fireshine Games and developer Undercoders have announced that the arcadey train game is heading to Xbox on the 17th of June, and it will be coming still day one to Xbox Game Pass. If you aren't familiar with this game, you basically take control of a train that's hurtling along the tracks at crazy speeds, and you'll be able to flip and trick like a skateboard for a series of high energy stages. This one is really channeling real Dreamcast energy with its presentation, and I've been looking forward to this one ever since its announcement. Now it's just a few months away, and the new trailer has me pretty amped up for the full release. Of course, you will expect me to cover this one alongside a review nearer to its launch day. Mixtape has now received an official release date, and it will be heading to Xbox Game Pass on the 7th of May. This one is actually coming from the award-winning team behind The Artful Escape, and it looks like another stylish storage of an experience. The game will follow a group of teenagers during what seems to be a defining night of their lives, with the story now unfolding through a series of short narrative moments. Each of these vignettes will play differently, blending humor, nostalgia, and music as you move between activities like skateboarding, flying through dreamlike sequences, or just snapping photos in places like an abandoned theme park. The structure of this one is feeling somewhat reminiscent of games like What Remains of Edith Finch, where each segment offers a new gameplay twist, and the devs have really harkened back to that. From what I've seen so far, Mixtape looks full of personality, and I'm really curious to see how its mix of storytelling and gameplay does come together when it finally launches this May. I think many of us always forget about this indie franchise, but the We Were Here games are some of the best co-op experiences that I've ever played. This is why I'm really surprised when the devs have now announced We Were Here Tomorrow, and this is going to be their newest entry. This is the latest edition though, and it will be launching later on this year, but we don't have a firm release date yet. It is marking the biggest shift yet to this franchise though, as it's now going to be transporting all of us players to a retro futuristic futuristic facility instead, and is introducing some unique character abilities, the series' signature walkie-talkie communication of course, and a fresh narrative direction. As per usual, clear communication is going to be essential to solving the new complex challenging puzzles that we're going to be facing, as every player holds only part of the information that's needed to progress. I honestly cannot wait to try out this new game within this franchise, and I just hope it's bloody good. You may remember a new game called Kiborg, and this was a little indie game that landed a little while back now, but it's semi-well across the board. Well, it's now receiving a brand new DLC called Kiborg Descent, and to be honest, it's always quite gratifying to see a game that I follow closely find success, and it does spark demand for brand new content. This will be launching on the 30th of April, and this paid expansion does follow protagonist Morgan as he now plunges into the depths of the Amiga 201 tower in a final quest to unlock his freedom. The expansion is set to introduce 3 new legendary bosses, 2 additional difficulty modes for seasoned players, and then 10 horrifying new enemies from the depths for us to fight. I would be keen to hear if any of you have played Kiborg before. Do let me know down below along with your thoughts on it. The Steam top sellers chart has always been filled with certain indie games that end up making a big splash out of nowhere, and Super Battle Golf is one of those titles and has been a particularly big hit with the likes of YouTube and on Twitch as of recently. It takes on the form of an online multiplayer golf game in which the idea is to mess about with your opponents and then stop them from singing a putt before you do. You can hit them with a golf cart, whack them with your ball, fire laser to them, you kind of get the idea. If you've got a bunch of friends to play with, it's going to be a really fun time. I have seen plenty of people asking about an Xbox version of the game, and the answer is that also certainly going to be happening. The developers have announced that a console version of the game is in the works, so unless they decide to skip Xbox for whatever reason, it should be on the way to us very, very soon. Surgeon Studios are best known for games like Tales of Kenzera Zao and Dead Take, and you may remember that both of them are very serious titles with a lot of emotional layering and some very dark themes. Well, in a bid to have a little bit of silly and stupid fun, the team has just unveiled FixForce, and this is a game that's out of left field for the studio, but looks very interesting. It is an extraction platformer that puts players in control of awkward robots, bound to enter a map, complete repairs, clamber around the environment, and then avoid losing their heads. When it's all said and done, players will then get back to a van and zip off towards the horizon, completing an extraction loop we see time and time again. I won't lie to you, I'm a little bit tired of extraction shooters at this point, and it does seem like the genre is getting more and more out of bloody nowhere. I expect it to be totally oversaturated like we saw Battle Royales, but hey, I like that this one's going for a different direction. I would be keen to see how it lands though when it comes to Xbox in the near future, but do let me know your thoughts on extraction shooters in the comments below. A co-op city builder that has been on Xbox Game Pass for a little while now is called Overthrown, and it's finally revealed its planned 1.0 launch date. The action-packed, light-hearted title was first released into early access on the 5th of December all the way back in 2024, so it does feel quite long overdue for sure. This game though has up to 6 players who will help farm, craft and create, and then ultimately build a town from scratch utilizing resources gathered during exploration. The game's 1.0 trailer does give us some more insight as to the main character, as they're now able to dash at rapid speeds and glide across pools of water, to name a few. There's also various new weapons and combat techniques, and it allows players to take on more threatening enemies and animals within Overthrown's world. I expect that many of you who have tried this will be delving back into this one for the first time, and yes, it will be remaining onto Xbox Game Pass during its 1.0 transition as things stand. 5 years after its first release, The Shore is now returning with an enhanced edition, and it feels less like a touch-up and more like a second pass from a creator who knows exactly what worked the first time. The bones of the original are still going to be here, but the experience will land a lot differently. It's going to be stronger, heavier, and more confident in the kind of horror it wants to deliver. The Shore Enhanced Edition will see players exploring the Forbidden Island, which takes inspiration from Lovecraftian mythos and is home to abandoned villages, ancient temples, and otherworldly landscapes. The unsettling visuals are looking to create a cosmic-like horror atmosphere, which then includes environments shaped by ancient gods and hulking eldritch creatures. I do remember the original release being positively received at the time. It was just such a shame it went under the radar, but I'm really interested to see how many will delve into this newest release when it arrives later on this year. The coin game is also leaving early access after being available on PC since way back in February 2019, and when version 1.0 launches in just a matter of days, it will be arriving on the consoles at the very same time. I will be honest, this one completely flew under my radar, but the reception on Steam is quite hard to ignore with overwhelmingly positive reviews from thousands of players. The premise is quite an unusual one as well. You'll essentially have to explore an open island where you're the only human and you're surrounded by robots, and the experience mixes light survival mechanics with a surprisingly relaxed sandbox vibe. A big part of the gameplay does revolve around visiting arcades, playing different machines, and then just wandering around soaking in that atmosphere. It's definitely a strange concept on paper, but clearly it's resonated well with a lot of people out there. I'm just really curious to see what the whole console crowd think when it launches very shortly. Sprawl Zero has just been announced as well as a prequel to the hardcore cyberpunk shooter known as Sprawl, and it looks like the developers are really leaning heavily into that early 2000s FPS style. While the original game did follow the Super Soldier 7 fighting to survive the oppressive junta, the new entry will flip that perspective entirely. In this newest game though, you will play as 5, a cybernetically enhanced hero who's going to be working for Junta, and you're tasked with hunting down Silas, the leader of a techno-religious faction. The gameplay looks very fast and chaotic, with access to around 40 different weapons, along with tools like gravity gloves and a gravity shield that can even fling projectiles back at enemies. As you can see, the levels are also going to be built with multiple routes, and it does look to encourage us to outmaneuver squads rather than just charging in head first like we see in games like Doom. It does look awesome. I am really curious to see future updates on this one, as it does remind me heavily of their early 360 era, and that's just so bloody exciting. Do let me know your thoughts down below though, and subscribe for more Xbox content like this on a daily basis. Do also like the video if you did enjoy it, and check out the video on screen now if you want to check out all the Xbox news that has occurred over the past week.